Hi, beloveds. It's been some time, so that means we've got quite a bit to cover. So, on top of the reading that I have today, I do have a few topics that I want to discuss just to kind of catch you up on a few things, what's going on now, any epiphanies or things that I have to share that have come to me over the course of the time that I have not been making these videos. I certainly hope that this message finds you well. And with that being said, we will get right to it. So today I will be reading from the energy deck. I've got healing deck and the love deck and keepers of the light. I left out the energy deck this time in exchange for the keepers of the light deck, just because I just felt like we needed to have some sort of guideline about what we should be doing right now a little more versus just the overall energy, just some bit of instruction. So that's why I am consulted with the keepers of the light deck. But the first three cards are from the energy deck. No, I'm sorry, they're from the map deck and enchanted map. I hope I said that the first time. Oh, so first card, here we go. We have a reversal kicking it off. So before I get into this card, I want to say that this reading is full of a lot of things, concepts like loss and fear and breakdown. So you're going to be hearing me reiterate those themes throughout this reading. I wouldn't consider any of this to be a bad thing. It's more of an awareness thing. So we'll get right to it. So the Strength card in reverse. All right, here's what it looks like upright. And this Strength card in reverse, I mean, if you know about reversals and the fact that this is strength, if this is strength in reverse, you might not have been feeling so strong lately. This card is in the recent past. So you've been working too much, overworked, overwhelmed, burning out, feeling restless maybe, stressed out, worked up. And that's actually one of the reasons why I haven't been making the videos lately, because I was feeling like I was literally burning out. And one of the things that I want to be able to bring to you all is my best when I'm having to read and come from this place where I'm digging deep. I want to give you all that I've got. And it's one of the things that I've been trying to balance and thinking about continuing on the pursuit of a spiritual based business, is just the fact that I want to be able to consistently give my best. And how do I find a balance of when I could be potentially burning out and then being able to assist others in the way that I need to. So I apologize for this tangent. We'll get back to the cards. So you may have been feeling burnt out, working too much, stressed out about some things. You also may have been experiencing the breaking of certain bonds, relationships ending or weakening, not being as strong as they could have been, and strength in reverse. All right. So right now, currently, what is happening or what you may be feeling right now, flying. Okay. So if you ever think about flying when you take off in an airplane, or if you've been on a roller coaster and you start going up and then you have that dip, or when you're taking off, you might feel something in the pit of your stomach, that adrenaline, kind of like the same feeling we get when we're fearful. And fear comes into play heavy with this flying card, because this flying card is saying you've got something you've got to take off on. And you got to go out there and you got to do it. And that can bring up feelings of fear when you're about to take flight, when you want to take that leap. And this is an amazing card right now, because I know so many people who are about to take off, whether they are moving away, buying, a home, building a life with someone, starting school, starting a new job, a new business, starting a new relationship, or being in a type of relationship they've never done before, something brand new. My children are going to be going to high school. There's all these wonderful transitional things that can make us feel a little fearful and nervous, but these are good and wonderful things, and go for it. Because if it doesn't give a little bit of fear, then it might not be worth it, so much. And just embrace it. Really embrace it. And just one step at a time, and analyze the pros, the cons. But really, if everything is lining up and it's going smoothly and you feel like you're within the flow, or it's a good change for you, go for it. And remember, from my other videos, I've been talking to you about this a lot. Jupiter retrograde right now. Now it is in Sag, but it's still Jupiter retrograde, and that is basically like an agent of change and growth and shifting. And just, I say to myself, I'm expecting changes on my physical plane. And a lot of other people, I'm sure, are having changes on their physical plane, making these moves. So make the move. All right, last card, coming apart. Now this coming apart card, this is about letting go of everything that no longer serves you. This is dissolution. This is breakdown. This is weakening. This is, if it's not working for you, it has to go. And you have to be honest about yourself. Is what you're doing right now and how you're living right now working for you? Are the people you were having into your life, are those relationships working with you, working for you? Is your romantic relationship working for you? Be honest. Is your job working for you? Is your self-care routine or lack thereof working for you? If it's not working, you gotta cut it out, especially if you're gonna take off and take flight. Sometimes when you make significant changes, you start losing people. It is what it is. But coming apart, for everything average, below average, difficult, straining, stressful that you let go, you just leave room for something better to come in. It's like that analogy about having a full cup. If your cup is full of messiness, bad stuff, polluted waters, you gotta dump it so you could build it up with something better, fill it up with something better, right? How are you going to serve in your life, yourself, people and causes and things that you love, if your cup feels polluted and going through all of this stuff, this strength in reverse, and being stressed out and trying to navigate it? We can't get away from that all the time. So that's why sometimes you got to take pause, start dumping stuff out of your cup so that it can be replenished with something that's going to work better for you, something more nourishing. Okay? All right. Seek seclusion. This is from the healing deck. This is how we've got to heal right now. If you've been doing too much, make some time for yourself to stay away. Work on your self-care. Do some things that are going to be very nurturing for you to help you fill back up. So if that means taking a break from anything at all, getting away for some time, doing what you need to do to get back on track, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. And what I want to say about this is, one of the topics I wanted to go over today was this idea of spiritual lack. Now, for those of you who have a spiritual belief, and if you're tuning in to my channel watching this, you have some sort of spiritual belief, because this is oracle card reading. One of the things that I notice is that if I'm having a little more of a disconnect than I should from spirit, that's a spiritual lack for me that manifests in engaging and indulging in vices or things that might not be the best for you. So negative thinking, or maybe it's something like you have habits that you were trying to kick, and you notice you go to those habits when you are stressed out, or you're overwhelmed, or you're just feeling kind of depressed or sad, or anything that's affecting you, or angry, and you turn to certain vices that may not be the best for you. You know, I'll never tell anyone, oh, you should not, don't. But just be mindful of when you start doing things that you wouldn't normally do, or things that you don't necessarily want to do, or you made the decision that it's not for you, but you start creeping back and doing those actions and things and engaging and indulging in those vices when you start feeling depleted. That's spiritual lack. So notice if you fall back into a pattern of things that you were trying to step away from, and then make a plan of action to get around that. So when I feel I'm in spiritual lack and I'm doing things that I know is because of spiritual lack, that's when I know I have to take a step back. Do more meditation, go to acupuncture, do some yoga, get into nature, have time alone, take a salt bath, just things that I talk about on and on. Prayer, even listening to others, and I'll get to that at the end of this. So just keep that in mind when you're taking some time, some seclusion for yourself. Now, this card from the Love deck is very relevant and very valid, but it's a little bit of a outlier for the other cards that we've been going through. This light field card, this is about our loved ones who have passed on, who have passed away, and how that could potentially make us feel fearful, or how we might miss them, or we might feel confused, you know, about the loss, and it makes an impact on our lives, and we might really miss the individual. And what this card is saying is, you know, for those who have passed on, just trust that they're okay, and you could feel them in your heart. You know, if you want to talk to them, communicate with them, you can do so from your heart space. Just, you know, settle in and quiet and just feel them. Just feel them, and just know that the love that they have for you and you have for them can help you get through some of these fears that you might have moving forward with your next step. So just know that your heart is strong, and if you want to communicate with those who have passed on, just take a moment, feel them, just feel them inside, okay? And this card from the Keepers of the Light deck, because as I was mentioning, I wanted to have some sort of action, you know, for us. And Master Buddha, this is about Master Teacher. This is about your own self-awareness, and that you are your own greatest teacher. Whatever you are learning in your life is the guideline for how you're going to proceed and move forward. So this card is for you to tap into your inner knowing, focus on yourself, do what works for you, and consult with that. Yeah, you can listen to other people. You can follow them, and it's very helpful. You know, you can listen to some of the things that I say, anyone else, other people, wonderful. But at the end of the day, you have to go with your internal teacher, okay? And like I said, I was going to talk about listening to people. So one of the things I've been doing lately, for a while now, a couple weeks now, maybe longer, is actually for the month of June, I decided to just wait on God. Now, as someone like me who would pray twice a day, morning, night, without fail, the thing about praying and even meditating, doing energy work, anything that you're trying to put out there into the universe to move, shape, change your situation, enhance, create, manifest, you have to give it time for integration. You know, if you just keep every day asking, even if it's not anything to tangibly, it could just be trying to self-improve, you know, help me to be a better person, help me to do this, that, you know, anything like that. You have to give things time to integrate. And integration means sometimes you just have to wait. Let it just all fall into place. And that is a concept, you know, waiting on God. And for the month of June, that's what I did. Wait to hear some of the things I need to do, expect to just wait for some answers. And, you know, I got some. So for the month of July, I'm doing something similar with that, but I'm incorporating listening to that, listening to what others are saying, watching their videos, you know, taking their messages and just feeling what really resonates for me while I'm still waiting, basically. Sometimes you are in a season of waiting, and sometimes the things that you want you don't get immediately, but that doesn't mean you'll never get them. If you look at the things that are going right in your life and you're like, wow, that's going right, the universe has got my back and everything like that, but you're like, there's this other part of my life where it's not going right. What's going on? Am I ever going to get it? If you think the universe can have your back and does have your back for the things that are going right, you can trust the universe that something is going to work out in the areas that are not going right. Things can't stay the same forever unless you keep clinging and holding on to things. And that's the whole point of letting go of what does not serve you. It happens. If the needle isn't being pushed forward, you got to let it go. And one of the terms that I hear a lot, you know, especially in my industry, is like, you know, square peg, round hole. If it doesn't fit, don't force it. Anything that's supposed to work for you, be for you, pan out, is going to pan out effortlessly. Now, avoid confusing that with not having to do work or not having to do your part to make things work. But if it's roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, or if you're left with no options, chances are it's time to sit down and leave it alone. So those are some of the conceptual things that I have been considering in my time away from making these videos. So I hope that resonates with you. And the last thing I'm going to get into is, of course, about some of the transits. I won't go too over the top with it. I'm just going to give you the real lowdown about what's happening right now. So we are in a Mercury retrograde right now until the 31st. It is Mercury retrograde in Cancer, so it's super sensitive. So be mindful of that. Of course, all the same things apply. Delays, miscommunications, breakdowns with electronics. You know, I got people who are getting notices about some of their flights might be delayed because of inclement weather and transit acting up extra when you don't, expect it. So just, go with the flow. Give yourself some extra time. And then also, you might be feeling extra sensitive. Others might be feeling extra sensitive. So just try to be mindful of that and be patient. And on top of that, over the course of the next several days or so, Mars, there's going to be a transit that Mars is a part of. I won't say the exact transit. I don't want to go too deep. But I was reading Jessica Lanyadoo, and she was mentioning about, Mars. And Mars is about, it's like flames. It's about fighting. It's about conflict. And if you know your chart and you look up your Mars sign, that can give you an idea about how you fight, how you handle conflict, how you approach it. And right now, there could be a lot of angst that you might be feeling, that others might be feeling. And right now, basically, try to avoid conflict as much as possible. Take accountability for how you're feeling, she says. Jessica says, take some accountability for how you're feeling and don't place the blame on someone else and like they made you feel that way. Take accountability for yourself. Be patient with others. Avoid the conflicts. If you can avoid fighting, avoid fighting. If that means walking away, do it. If that means not having the last word, don't have the last word. That's all about ego. And that's what she was mentioning. Watch out for your ego over this next week or so. You don't have to have the last word. You don't have to continue the argument. You don't have to fuel the fire, fan the flames. Just avoid it. All right? And very last, I got the universe has got your back. So we're going to see. I'm just going to shuffle these and give you one. And I'm going to let you go. It's a little long, but if you stuck it out with me, I appreciate you. I really do. And I'm just going to find this one card for all of us. Let's see how the universe has our back. All right. Gonna pick you one. Unless one pops out. That's always nice when it pops out. Let's see what we've got. Here we go. I create mindful moments throughout the day, reminding myself that I am love and miracles are natural. So remind yourself, you are love. When you feel like a conflict is arising or someone's a little angsty, remember, you are love. Do a nice thing for a stranger. And miracles happen. So, fly. Namaste.